For most people, when they see the word Celt, they will pronounce it as Celt, due to the word looking like it has a soft C. It is actually pronounced as Celt, because the C is pronounced as a K sound. Another common error when on the topic of the Celtic nations is that some people think Scotland and Ireland are the only Celtic nations. As of now, the most popular idea of the Celtic nations is Ireland, Scotland, Isle of Man, Cornwall, Wales, and Brittany, and also sometimes Galicia. No, wait, not Galicia, Galicia. How did I butcher that? It's so easy to pronounce. Moving on. So in total, we have 7 Celtic nations. Now, while this seems easy enough to understand, according to Wikipedia, Google, YouTube, people from the actual regions mentioned, and other sources of info suggest there's possibly 14 to 17 Celtic nations. Now, that's a lot more. For example, Newfoundland is considered Celtic for some reason, as there are groups in Newfoundland who would say the island is Celtic. Interesting. Another example is a lot of people in northern regions of Portugal consider themselves Celtic, due to the Celtic history and some of the Celtic culture there. When you go to Wikipedia and other sources, there are many Celtic nations in Iberia, and they are Galicia, whatever, Leon, and Cantabria. So, in other words, the entire left corner of Iberia is Celtic. Then there's the Celtic nations of France, which are Brittany, and there are the 2 other debated Celtic nations, Guernsey and Jersey. Wait, no. Guernsey? Wait, how do you pronounce that? Guernsey. Oh, that's way more simple than what I was thinking. Anyway, lastly, the Celtic nations of the northern islands of Europe. We've got Ireland, Scotland, Wales, the Isle of Man, and Cornwall. To be considered a Celtic nation, it usually comes down to 3 categories: culture, language, and heritage. For example, Ireland, Scotland, and the Isle of Man all have very similar Gaelic languages, while Cornwall and Brittany both have similar Breton languages. Another example is Galicia. While a Celtic language isn't spoken there, it does have a Celtic culture that many in the area claim proudly. So why is this all important to know? It's because of something that's been growing in popularity recently: Celtic nationalism. It's the idea that all Celtic nations unite under one banner, and that the Celtic languages that have been dying will be given a second chance and make a comeback. While this sounds very ambitious and interesting, many have misinterpreted this as a form of fascism, since this ideology wants to unite a people and nation group, similar to the ideas of fascist Italy, fascist Hungary, and Nazi Germany. However, where it differs is that Celtic nationalism is not associated with hunting down minority groups such as Jews or Catholics, and it doesn't really have an idea of what a Celtic government would look like. Unlike fascism, which in the case of fascist nations have usually had a totalitarian type of government. So where has Celtic nationalism gotten so far? Well, it has given old history nerds and map makers ideas and new nations that could be formed. And that's kind of it. While it is increasing, its activities have mostly been limited to the internet and small conferences. So will the goal of Celtic nationalism ever be achieved? Possibly, but it won't happen for a while. I'll give a prediction, say, by I don't know, 2050. There will be some form of Celtic nationalism on the global stage. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll see you guys next time. So long.